welcome back to Blur's Craft. So this looks dry enough, so I'm going to go ahead and hit it with an oil wash. This oil wash will help darken this whole thing up. Show you how I make the oil wash if I don't already have some. Just a blob of black paint, some mineral spirits, this is going to be quite a bit of a darker wash than my last one, but I have enough mineral spirits that I can always knock it down. Fortunately, it looks like I'm running out of the mineral spirits, so I'm going to have to probably get some more of that. So I'm just going to put a blob of this back here to see how dark it is, and it's pretty dark. The other thing you have to be careful is not getting like a blob of that black paint stuck to your paintbrush. You want to make sure that it's all really well mixed. And I didn't realize that I had a big chunk of paint stuck to my paintbrush, which I smeared back here, but that's fine because I can just take some of this other wash and kind of wash it down, and it will it'll break apart. You know, I got days of dry time on this, so at least 24 hours for the wash. There you can see how dark that wash is. I can use some of this lighter wash to lighten it up if I need. I can also pull from that puddle so that it isn't quite so intense. Yep, so just keep going through, add an oil wash if I feel like the oil wash is too much. I'll knock it down with some white spirits, mineral spirits. The other thing too to do sometimes is like, you can prop up your board that you're working on. This oil wash is very liquid, very viscous. So we should just be able to get, if we get any blobs of that black that we didn't mix well enough, you can always just take your white spirits and or your mineral spirits and knock it down a little bit, and it will blend all over the place. So. Basically, if I start from this end, I should get all of this wash to run down to this side. So it should theoretically work itself out, but we'll see if that's true. I've been noticing that a lot more little stones have been, like the sand and the gravel and stuff, have been coming off of this one. I must not have sealed it well enough. Sometimes when you're putting that sealing coat of PVA glue, you got to make sure you're not letting it get watered down too much. So I think that might have been what happened. As you can see, I'm just working this oil wash, slowly making my way this towards the camera. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow me having it at this angle is going to allow the really runny oil paint to work its way down there, so gravity's helping me out a little bit, so I'm not fighting this all by myself. pretty good so far. None of this paint is reactivating, which is really what I was worried about. That is wonderful. Rotate it a little bit. Just trying to get this oil wash to make its way down into the depths of all these little cracks and areas I can't actually get my hands into. So. One more rotate. Almost there. Just gotta get underneath this walkway real quick. And I will be done with the oil wash on this. I can go set it over on the dehumidifier, and we can move on to our next piece. So that's it all washed up. It definitely has dampened down that color a bit, but that's fine. It still looks really good. So I was thinking about washing this up. It seems pretty dry. The only issue I have with that is that there's a few places that I missed painting. Excuse me. That I'd like to go back and touch up real quick before I oil wash this. So just give myself a little cleanup of the oil wash just for a minute. Do try to be relatively careful with that oil wash, because you will get it everywhere. All right, so know that I'm going to need red for the next piece. This kind of red, so let me look at the piece before. Let me just throw all that on the ground first. I think that will be more efficient if I just knock all that on the ground. Let's look at it. That's a decent view of it, kind of. It's got the same highlight that I did for the last one. I could have hit this one a little bit harder with the primes. I did the magenta good, so this is going to be more of a magenta color. That's fine though. I think I'm actually going to start with the teal. Because I feel like most of this, the top of this is going to be teal. So I think we'll start there. Sorry, get that cord out of the way so I quit smacking it, quit wiggling this. Some water in there, and we're going to start mixing this, breaking it down so it's a little bit more viscous. It's a high pigment paint, so you can still water it down quite a bit and it'll get that pigment there. So this up a little bit. Let's try and put some other colors on this walkway here that I just put back in there so I don't forget to paint it. Oh, nice one. All right, good to know. All right, so for this one, I am gonna start with this wash. since this is water soluble oil paints, it works very similar to the oil wash. So if it's a little bit too dark for me, I can just put a little water on it. It will lighten it up when I do that, but it will also make it look like washed out a little bit, which is a nice effect if you are going for that. If you're looking for like ruined buildings, especially if something's like hasn't been touched in years and it's just been bleached out. So like anytime where I feel like it's been exposed to like a lot of UV light, if you ever look at something that's sat in the hot desert sun for years, all the color disappears out of it. So you can achieve that a similar effect by just watering down. You can even do it with acrylic paints. I've totally done it with acrylic paints. You put your kind of, a similar consistency, kind of runny. So I apologize for that. Yeah. Hopefully it won't keep doing that. But if it does, c'est la vie. Keep going around, at least try to get this top area done. I do want to try to touch up the couple of pieces or a couple of spots on this other piece over here. So yeah, sorry about booting everybody there. That my internet is being irritating, so I do apologize for that. That happened last night with my live stream, and I just finally abandoned it because I was just not actually being able to stream. So bit more green in here because I got to touch up those other pieces. Fix this little spot here. Okay, I will come back to that, but real quick, there are a couple little spots on this thing that I would just like to hit with another color. just show you what I'm kind of doing there. I'm just putting a little green on these panels that didn't get any paint on them. And normally I would probably just ignore them until I came back and like touched up different colors, but they were bothering me. They were bothering me quite bad, actually, for some reason. So I fixed them. Right, so now there's something there as opposed to empty, and that will get an oil wash, and it will help tone that down a bit. So I do feel like maybe just putting a little bit of kind of torn right now. I don't know whether I want to do this, the teal. I might do this a different color. I think it'll be too gross having 3 colors on there. That is a lot of teal. I do like that teal color, and it is reminiscent of the whole Hive Secondus thing. And out of all 4 of those, there's only one that will get a bunch of teal on it. Probably. I say that, but that's probably a lie. So we're actually just gonna try to get a little bit more of this green on here. Just mixing paint, just mixing paint. If you see me here and it looks like I'm just sitting here doing nothing, I'm probably mixing paint. I think I am going to try to get hopefully be able to get kind of like a washed out effect. So that I can cover all of these walls without having to make up another batch of paint. this is actually a pretty big chunk of this is going to be the screen then. That does make most of this table this teal color, but I'm okay with it. I do like the color. Like I said a little bit ago, that it is kind of the paint scheme that the new set of Necromunda is kind of leaning for, but really it's just because I use this. Oh, you haven't seen this one? This one I built before I even had a YouTube channel. I was just bored in the basement and didn't even have anybody to play Necromunda with, and I started building stuff. This is one of the rare ones where it's like a solid piece, right? Like there's no pathing through it really. There's really no pathing up it either besides the elevator, so it kind of is a pain in the butt as far as that goes, but there's pathing around it, and what has happened is I've noticed in games that it usually turns out to be like a place where the walkways run into, and we're using the elevator. I think this is the only elevator that I've actually seen used. No, I guess this one here has an elevator, a lift in the back of it too, that I have seen used, so. Get this pigment on there and do some mess with a little water in there. It'll move that pigment around a little bit. So if you feel like you got it too thick, you can knock it down a little bit. Or if you're like running low, you need to extend your paint a little bit. It will become more transparent, and so if you're doing it on a really heavily highlighted, like Zenithal highlighted prime, it might not be as dark as you want it, but it will pigment the surface of whatever you're trying to paint, at least a little bit. Ladder green too, because the last two ladders I did were green, so we're gonna stay on theme. Also, if you're having a hard time like getting the paint into some of this texture, if you just hit it with a little bit more water, it will get everywhere you don't want it to. So good. Now the question is, what direction should I put the light coming from? And I think this corner would be the best. just going to take a little white and I'm going to mix up a mid-tone. Start stippling on this mid-tone wherever I think that this needs a little highlight. Wherever I think this light from this direction is surface is hitting. I'm going to put a little bit of this mid-tone. We could even stipple on, some in just random parts to help with that. Help with the texture consistency a little bit. I do like to put a little bit brighter highlights when I'm looking down on something, because usually the light is hanging above us, and when you think about like living in a giant industrial hamster cage, there's probably going to be like a heat lamp directly above you, so you're probably going to get a lot of directly down kind of lighting. So now I've mixed up another even lighter tone, not pure white, but moving in that direction. And again, this is I'm pretty much keeping it the same consistency as the initial wash I put on here, so they're blending together quite a bit. That initial wash was real runny, and this is real runny, so they're blending together quite well. And again, a little bit of this just stippled on, even if it's, a slight amount in the shadowed area is just going to give that kind of reflected light shining back there type of feel. So since this is our main angle, I'm going to blend some more white into this corner. And then also going to really try to get this highlight going from the top, because that's where all this is really going to get a lot of light. So I want to try to lighten this top bit up a little bit more than down here. Try to use up the rest of this darker paint too. this flooring done. Okay, almost done with this. Feeling it. Okay, let's see. Do I like the way that massive amount of teal is coming out? Yes, I do. But I like teal, so just gonna have to deal with that. I kind of go back through and knock down anywhere where I hit that was too white. But I feel like this needs a little bit more brightness up in the top layer, so do a little bit more highlighting towards the top. Yes, it's one activation to make the elevator come down to wherever you are, and then it's another activation to get it to go wherever the heck you want. So, in one turn you can walk up to it, get it to where you are. On another turn you can use it and here, I'll turn this way too so you can see a little bit better. Use it and whatever shoot or whatever. In the newer Necromunda, that's an action, like using a console or activating an elevator or whatever. Those are all just actions. So in the old one, I mean, we used to just always say that it's just counts as an action. So whether you give up your movement or you're shooting. I think it suits the color theme. Maybe not quite what is being like advertised now as what Necromunda, because really they do a lot of, I guess back in the day it was always black and yellow, but the second disc, all that stuff is all this teal, green, and purple, I noticed, which is cool that they're, the ash waste stuff was much more brown, tan, sort of. So yeah. Cool. Got some highlight on that edge. A little bit harder to see, but you can see what I did here. Just some like stippling pattern. It's definitely not as bright on the screen as it is here, but it's looking pretty good. I do have an incredibly busy day and weekend, so I'm gonna hop off and get started on that. I might try to stream again at noon if I have the ability to. If not, I'll probably see you guys all on Monday when I crank more of this out. Thank you for chilling with me this morning. doing some painting. I'd love to see some of what you guys hobby on. So feel free to tag me on any post in Instagram or anything like that. I'd love to see it. Just tag Blurscraft. So yeah, you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you Monday. Peace.